There are 80 active cases of coronavirus in Victoria, with just 4 cases overnight. Of today's 4 new cases, we have received initial low positive results in relation to 2 of those cases, and further testing and examination is underway to determine whether they are in fact false positives. We'll have an update around that hopefully later on today, if not in the reconciliation of numbers tomorrow. Until this is confirmed, though, they are, through an abundance of caution, treated as active positive cases. The 2 other cases, that is those that are not believed to be or suspected to be low positives, are under investigation by our public health team, and further work's underway to determine whether they're linked to known outbreaks. There are 5 Victorians in hospital, and none of those are in intensive care. A total of 3,154,371 test results have been received since the beginning of the pandemic. That's an increase of 23,583 since yesterday. And again, as we always do, because it's so important, we thank each and every one of those 23,500 Victorians who got tested just a little more than a day ago. That is a very strong number and critical to us having the most complete picture of where the virus is and to stop it spreading any further. If you get tested quickly, as soon as you have a sense of those symptoms, then we can wrap a public health response around you and your family to keep them safe and keep every family safe, because it stops you unwittingly spreading the virus. The symptoms can be very mild. Even the mildest symptoms should prompt you to go and get tested. There's more than 200 sites. We'll even come to you if you need a test in your judgment and you can't get to a testing site. Nothing is more important, arguably, than people who have got any symptoms at all getting tested, and getting tested really fast. It's how you keep yourself and the people you love the most safe, and it's how we stop this spreading. There are just 5 healthcare workers who are active cases. The rolling average to 29 October is 2.6 in Metro Melbourne, Regional Victoria 0. The unknown cases, or mystery cases, there are now just 2 of those to the 27th of October, and those 2 are in metropolitan Melbourne. In terms of the places where those 4 cases, local government areas where those 4 cases, so the 2 that are under investigation as to their chain of transmission and potential links to outbreaks, and the 2 that we suspect are low positives or false positives, Wyndham, Brimbank, Hume and Greater Dandenong. There are no active cases in regional Victoria, just to confirm, and we have just 4 active cases in residential aged care, critically important given how vulnerable that industry is. They're probably the numbers of the day that I needed to speak to. I did just want to make a couple of comments in terms of opening up and where we find ourselves. We as a community, and all of us right across the state, have taken some very big steps this week. And it comes off the back of having worked incredibly hard, all of us in different ways, to play our part to drive these numbers down to very low levels. If they're to stay at low levels, though, we all have to play our part. And Brett and his team, Ewan was here yesterday, Jerome earlier in the week, they lead teams of thousands of people, and they are working night and day doing quite extraordinary things. But each and every one of us has got a part to play. We're all in this together, and we'll all pay a price, all of us, one way or another, if we don't play that part. So following the rules, and I know the rules are not fun, but they're there to keep us open. They're there to keep us safe. And if we all play our part in lots of small ways in making good decisions, smart decisions and safe decisions, then we will be able to take another step next weekend, and we'll be able to take further steps after that. And we'll get to Christmas, and it'll be much closer to a normal Christmas than it might have been. Well, indeed, it'll certainly be a much more normal Christmas than it will be if we don't all play our part. So whether it's washing your hands, coughing into the crook of your arm, not going to work if you've got any symptoms at all, instead getting tested as soon as you've got those symptoms, all the way through to a cafe owner making sure that tables are appropriately spaced, making sure that you're keeping a record of everybody who's coming into the shop or the store, All of those things, making sure that if you work at a cafe and you feel ill, you don't go to work. All of these things, they can seem very simple and very small, but they all add up to what we've built. Something that's precious, but something that is fragile. And we all have to play our part to protect it, to safeguard it, and to make sure that we don't have to take any backward steps. This is not I'm not speaking of anything specifically. I'm just ahead of the weekend. I'm just reminding people that whether it's all those examples I've used or literally hundreds more, but particularly at a very personal level, visitors to your home, it's one visiting event per day. And I know that's challenging, but if we want to keep doing that and not be locked down again and unable to see the people that we love, then we've just got to keep vigilant. We've just got to keep doing this. We have to be, as a community, as stubborn as this virus. It's not going away. It spreads rapidly. It spreads silently. We've come so far and done so much that we just have to safeguard that. We just have to safeguard it. What's more, these last few months have to mean something. They have to be worth something. There's a lot of pain and hurt out there. There's grieving. There'll be a big repair job, a big job of work to be done. And the state budget in just a few weeks' time will be the opportunity for us to make those unprecedented investments, not for their own sake, not just to create jobs as if that's a be-all and end-all. It's about creating jobs so that families can have security and safety and they can plan for the weeks and the months and the years to come, so that the people they love the most can be in as safe and secure an environment and as safe and secure a position as possible. That's what the state budget will be about, and that's what all of us have to be about. Taking these safe steps, playing our part, being vigilant, valuing the fact we've built something that is deeply impressive but fragile, and we all have to play our part in safeguarding that. All of us. There's simply no choice. Just finally, can I just make a couple of brief comments in relation to terrible events in France overnight? We send our best wishes to everybody caught up in that. These are not acts of faith. They're anything but that. It is an act of evil, and it is something that's very confronting, very, very challenging, and we send our best wishes to everybody who's been caught up in this. It's a terrible thing, and all those who are involved are obviously in our thoughts and prayers. Any attack against freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of political thought is an attack on all of us, no matter what country that attack happens in. Any fundamental abuse of faith to commit acts of evil is an attack against all of us and the values that we hold dear. And, can I say, the values of community, the values of being in this together, the values of kindness and compassion that have been at play in our great state right throughout 2020. That's what's got us here. And these attacks, albeit a long way away, they're an attack against all decent people all over the world.